Hey guys, we're about to go live here in the group. I am Amanda Roberts and I will be sharing a lot about listings tonight. So this is going to be a really good informational training. Some of you may be watching the replay, so type in replay if you're watching the replay. If you are here for the first time or you're just now getting on, go ahead and let me know where you're from, city and state where you are watching from. I am not the greatest at keeping up with the comments. I will try. Can you get me a straw, please? Sorry, I am dictating to Dwayne. Get me a straw because I'm going to need water later. Hello, Carol and Nalita. Hopefully I said your name right. Hi, Tori. Nice for you guys to be on. Hi, Mary Beth. You're in Florida as well. So are we. We are in the Destin area. Thank you. Can you shut that door, please? All right. Nalita is from Florida as well. Sharon, can everybody hear me okay? I'm actually in Dwayne's office. My webcam in my office is not doing so hot. It's on its last legs. I will be getting a new one before next week. I am so excited to share this stuff with you guys. Oh my goodness. When I was putting together the PowerPoint presentation, it ended up, I couldn't put it all in there. It was just so much information. I'm like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe all of this information that I've gathered over the years, things that we've applied in our business. When Dwayne asked me to talk about listings, I was like, yeah, of course I can talk about listings. Hey, Melinda, as everybody comes in, if you could just type in the comments where you're from. I promise we're going to get started as soon as possible. I've got a lot of information to go over in a very short period of time. Don't worry about taking notes or anything. The replay is going to be in the group, so you can always watch it back and take notes. There's going to be a lot of links, a lot of free documents and things that I'm going to have to add back in here later. Lots of good information, good nuggets I'm going to be throwing out tonight. Things that I've learned over the years. Another agent from Florida. Melinda's from Gainesville. You girls know where it's at. We love our Florida beaches. All right, looks like we've got about 14 people on, actually 16 now. We're going to wait just a few more minutes and then I am going to jump right in here. I'm going to be throwing a lot at you tonight. A lot of good information, things, some of it you may have already heard before. Some of it may be new to you. A lot of these things are little minor tweaks to your business. It looks like my husband is chiming in under my account since I'm on his. So if you see comments from Amanda Roberts in the comment section, that is actually from my husband, Dwayne. So he kind of took me back with that one for a minute. Looks like we've got an angry face. Well, I'm sorry if we made somebody angry tonight, or maybe that was an accident. Hopefully we're going to make you real happy by the end of the call. If not, then it's not for you, and God bless you. Richard is joining us from Utah, Salt Lake City. We've been there before. We actually went and saw the downtown area in Salt Lake. That was a really beautiful place. All right, guys, I'm going to give it one more minute and we're going to get started. I actually have a really good presentation tonight. I've got a lot of information to throw at you. I'm going to be sharing my screen here in a minute. Looks like we got about 20 people on, so I'm just go ahead and jump right in. This is actually my first time sharing the screen. So Dwayne, if you don't, I don't know if you can hear me in my office in there. If this is not sharing, please let me know. All right, share screen. How does that look, guys? Can everybody see that? Type yes in the comments if you can see my screen, if you can see how to be the top listing agent in your market and crush 2021 on your screen. Dwayne says we're good. All righty then, I'm going to move on. I'm actually going to share with you guys tonight how I leveraged a $7 lead and turned it into multiple transactions totaling over $22,197 in commissions. I was thrilled when this happened. It was actually my very first multiple transaction from a lead that I got. This has been several years ago. We've actually been working leads since the very beginning of our business, back before Facebook was even a thing. But this lead came, we got this lead for $7 and I worked it. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. So as I'm listening to agents, the number one thing that I'm hearing is that they're having an inventory problem. If you're having an inventory problem, I want you to type in inventory or yes in the comments and let me know if that's also a problem in your area. I know that's not a problem in every city, but a lot of cities are having an inventory problem. There's more buyers than sellers. So here's a little thing when I wrote this today that came to mind. You will never be broke a day in your life if you continually solve problems for your clients. Your clients have several problems. Number one could be that there's no homes available. My stepson has been looking for a home in Middle Tennessee right now, and he was looking up to $300,000. This is a first-time home purchase, and he was having trouble. There was multiple offer situations. He kept losing properties. We told him to fire his agent because she was not submitting the offers correctly. I will tell you later on things that you can do, a couple of tips that you can get your buyer's offers accepted in multiple offer situations, but that's a problem. And that's problem number two, multiple offers. Now, problem number three is rising prices. So while your clients are out here looking for properties and they can't find them, or there's multiple offer situations, what's happening in the meantime? The prices are going up. So if your client's approved for $275 and everybody's fighting for homes in that price point, and then over a 6-month period, the properties have went up to $280 or even $285, how are they ever going to find a house? We have got to get them in a house as quick as possible. Number four, leases are expiring and need to be renewed. A lot of times renters, they start looking about 90 days out. If they don't find a property in the first 60 days of looking, they are forced to renew their lease, which means it's going to be another 12 months before they're looking again. That is reality. That is a fact. So we have to find them a house as quick as possible. Problem number five, buyers going elsewhere. In the instance where I mentioned my stepson, his agent is making rookie mistakes and he lost several properties because of it. Things that as experienced agents, we would not have done were we still licensed in Tennessee. Now, what we're going to go over in this live is how to get listings in a seller's market, how to approach current and past clients to get more business, how to get buyers and sellers from your listings and the listings in your office, how to generate multiple offers. And I'm talking about on your listings, how to get multiple offers coming in on your listings, how to properly conduct an open house and get more business, how to leverage a team of agents with these same concepts that I'm going to go over with you, and how to be the expert in your market, making your phone ring with sellers to list their home. Now, how to get buyers and sellers from your existing listings and those in your office. So a lot of people do not realize the importance of using signage. I'm talking about the entire frame. I'm not talking about just the sign itself that's in the frame, with your business, your company's name and phone number and your picture and all the, your company's logo, whatever it is. I'm talking about the sign writer on top of the sign. And a lot of the frames actually have a place underneath for you to put another sign writer. Now, what a lot of agents don't realize is you've got some real estate on the side of those signs too. So you want to use the entire frame. You don't want to put, a lot of times you'll see things on top of the sign that says pool or spacious. Those are not going to sell that house. That's not going to get you buyers. That's not going to get you additional listings. Whenever I sell a home, what I do immediately within 24 hours of selling that property, I will go out or send a member from my team out and put a sold sign on top of that sign. Now, do I care if a buyer drives by and sees that it says sold? No. What I'm trying to do, I'm not trying to attract a buyer in that instance. What I'm actually trying to do is attract another house in the neighborhood, another potential listing. Because here's what happens. When you list a property, you put the sign in the yard on Friday and you get an offer on Saturday and you're over there on Sunday and it says sold. Every single one of those neighbors driving down that street are going to go, wow, that sold fast. I mean, they just put the sign in the yard yesterday, right, Jim? And Jim's going to be like, I don't know. So, and if they were even thinking about selling their home, what do you think they're going to do? Most people are going to stop and grab a flyer out of your Take One box, which leads me to my next slide. Take One boxes. So do you really care if the buyers are taking the flyers or the sellers? Who do you want to take the flyers out of the Take One boxes? Are you actually using Take One boxes? Because let me tell you, Take One boxes are a huge, huge source of future business. I normally fill my Take One boxes up with as many sheets as it'll fit in there. I normally print 50 at a time. And you're like, oh my gosh, you just killed half a tree and all the ink and the expense, like yada, yada. I don't know if you've got a printer at home or if you're using the office printer, but paper's cheap and so is ink. So just print it. It's less than 10 cents a page. It's going to get you business. These flyers are going to be taken. The majority of them are going to be taken by nosy neighbors. They are going to walk, wonder how much Fred and Jane selling their house for. Well, they're not going to know because guess what? You're not putting the price on the property. Now, when you do sell it fast, and if you're in a seller's market, you will, then they're going to notice that. They're going to see who's this agent, what's their name, what's their phone number, in case they were thinking about listing in the future. Now, the flyer in the box, let's talk about that for a minute. So you've got both sides of the paper, and every printer these days will print double-sided. You can print on both sides. So if you have been only printing on the front of the page and not using that back page, you are leaving half of your billboard unused. Like if you were driving down the road and you saw a billboard of a real estate agent and they only had half their ad on the billboard, you'd be like, what? What's that about? So on the back side of that flyer, there's a couple of things you can do. You can put pictures of the inside of the house. That will possibly entice buyers to call you. That's a good way to generate a phone call from a buyer. But what I would implore you to do is to come up with a list of homes. Now, I would suggest putting the image of the home and a little brief description of the home underneath it, like 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,475 square feet, in Freeport or in Destin or wherever it is, maybe put the city and state. Don't put the price. Do not put the price. Never, ever, ever put the price. Now, this is going to cause some of you to do a little bit of extra work, but it's going to be worth it. I would get a toll-free number, and Dwayne can actually give you a really good source for that. It's all online. You don't have to, buy a toll-free number or anything. And what's going to happen with that is you're going to get a code. You can get codes that you can assign to properties. And so that's another thing you can use on the side of the signs is you can put this home's code is 1234, and then you can have a toll-free number and they can call to get information about the property. Now, they're not going to get a pre-recorded message about the property. When they call that toll-free number, it needs to be automatically transferred to you or a member of your team. And you're going to answer the phone. Hi, this is Melissa with eXp Realty. I noticed that you called in about one of our properties. Which property number is that? Oh, that's property 1234. Okay, great. Let me look that up for you and give you the information on that. Person's pretending like looking it up. Okay. And while I'm looking that up, can I get your name and number just in case we get disconnected? Okay, great. They get the name and phone number. All right. Yes, that property is still available. What can I tell you about it? And then you tell the person who answered the phone at your office tells the potential buyer what what they need to know about the property. But before they hang up the phone, we would love to send you additional homes just like this. And I'd also like to send you a list of what's currently available. What's a good email address? So now you've captured the email address. There is a buyer on the loose driving around subdivisions in a subdivision where you have a listing. So it's a pretty good chance they're looking in your price point in the homes that you sell. Now you've got their name, phone number, and email address. Somebody's getting a phone call. And so you need to be that one to take them out of the market and be their buyer's agent. And so that's a really good use of the back of the flyer, putting other homes with those codes. Now, they don't have to be your listings. They can be other listings in the office. You can talk to the other agents in your office and say, hey, I'm doing something really neat where, I might be able to generate some business for you quicker, get you a buyer, get your listing sold quicker. I'm just going to, if it's all right with you, I'm just put them on the back of my flyers that I put in my take one boxes. That way, if they don't like the property that I've got listed or it's out of their price point, maybe they'll like one of yours. What agent would say no to that? I mean, really, what agent would say no to that? And if they do, don't deal with that agent. All right, just listed to the neighbors. This is actually a very underutilized method that will get you listings. Every single listing that you take, you really, really, really need to be sending out a postcard or a letter to the neighbors in that neighborhood, letting them know 123 Main Street was just sold. This is what it's listed for. This is the square footage. If you've been thinking about selling, or if you're looking at buying, maybe you're interested in buying this property and selling yours, here's my information. It's a very good, very, very good source of lead. It's a lead source. And a lot of people like to do business with people that other people are doing business with. It's called approval of others. It's a very, very good sales tactic. And if anybody's commenting, I really hope Dwayne's keeping up with that, because I can't even see the comments right now. I apologize, but I'm sure he's in there keeping up with it. Just sold postcards or letters to the neighbors. So if you've sent out the just listed and now you're sending out a just sold, if they were already thinking about calling you, now you just push them over. And so even if you just got one listing from all of that, I mean, we're talking $10,000 to $20,000 commission, depending on what your price point is in your area. And so I think that's worth a little bit of postage and a little bit of effort to send those out. I mean, most of you probably know how to go into your MLS and get the surrounding areas. Most MLSs or tax records give you that option. If not, I'm sure your broker or someone in your office who's been in the business longer may know how to show you how to do that. All right, moving on. Just listed and sold in Facebook group. This is so easy. So easy to do. Now, there's lots of places that you can do this. You can do this in just a standard community group. This is a great way of getting your brand out there without selling anything, because a lot of Facebook groups, they do not want self-promotion. They don't want you selling anything. And so when you go in and you share a picture of the house you just sold, and you share a brief little story. Now, people like stories. They don't want to hear, I just sold this 1,450 square foot house for $299.9 and blah, blah, blah in 15 days or whatever that part of the story is. Now, they don't want that kind of stuff. They want to hear about how you helped a young couple stop renting and stop throwing money away on rent. And now they can have a fenced backyard for their puppy and start their family, and something that they've been dreaming of doing. They want to hear the story. And so if you do it that way, a lot of times the admins of the group will leave it, especially if you don't put a link to anything, because people can always click on your name and message you if they're interested in buying or selling real estate. So this is a great source. I do not want to overlook the fact that we should have happy home buying groups of our own that we are adding people to in our community. And I'll go over that a little bit more later. But if you're constantly posting in that group, that you've helped somebody buy a house or you've helped somebody sell a house. And every single time you do that, you take a picture of the client standing in front of the house or at the closing table with a sold sign, and you post that in your happy home buying group, and you explain, you know, the story behind how you helped this family, how they went from, you know, an older couple went from 2 stories to 1 level, and now their knees and backs aren't going to be hurting anymore, and they're not going to be cleaning as much. Or you took this family from a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house that had 4 kids, and you got them a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house. I mean, whatever the story is, share that with the picture. And eventually people are going to start seeing you sharing these stories over and over with different situations, different people, different houses, different days. And they're going to be like, oh my gosh, this person is like, this is a really popular agent and they really know what they're doing. They're helping a lot of people. And so they're going to be attracted to you because of that. And so I'll go over that a little bit more. Just listed and sold to your existing database. So many people get that commission check for when they sell a property or they put a buyer in a home. And then they're like, I'm so glad that is over. That was so stressful. Like, oh my gosh, that inspection. Oh, I don't ever want to see or talk to this person ever again. I mean, let's be honest. As real estate agents, our job is stressful. We sometimes do not want to see or talk to that client again. But the reality is they were just as stressed out as you were, if not more so, because they didn't know what was happening. They didn't know, are they going to get the house? Are they not going to get the house? Or things are going to fall apart? And people, they get really stressed out in situations and they say and do things that they don't normally mean to. But typically what my experience has been is if you worked with somebody once before, whether it was difficult or not, usually the second transaction is much smoother because they know you, they know your processes, they know your temperament, they know they can trust you because you saw them through to the finish line last time, and they trust you with their family and their friends and with their future purchases as well. So don't shy away from clients because it was potentially a bad experience for you or them, or don't feel like you're bothering them. Like they're always going to be thinking, oh, she just wants me to refer business to her. No, I really do believe that people want to refer business to you. They just forget sometimes if you're not constantly in their face, you know, sending them messages every now and then. Hey, how's it going? How's your home? Are you enjoying your home? And I'll go into some details about that later, but always send them information about your listings because they may be thinking about buying or selling and they'd rather buy or sell from you. All right. Co-op or share listings with other agents. I kind of touched on this earlier. If you say, hey, you know, if I get a listing, do you mind putting it on the back of your flyers? And when you get a listing, I'll do the same. And hey, when I'm sharing things on Facebook, do you mind if I share your listings? And I'm cool with you sharing mine too. You know, just however you want to word it. It can be something like, this great property just hit the market in a hot neighborhood. It's going to go fast. You don't have to say, this is my listing. You're just talking about a hot property. It doesn't have to be your listing, because if you're attracting the buyer, then that listing agent really shouldn't be representing both parties anyway. You should be representing the buyer and let them represent the seller. Why should somebody else get that business? So that is how to get buyers and sellers from your existing listings and those in your office. Obviously, I could go into great detail. I could spend an hour on all of this, but we've got a lot of information to go through in a very short period of time. If everybody who is still with me, say here. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comment box. Dwayne is watching. He is commenting. Holy cow, there's 41 comments. And I said, I'm not really good with the comments, guys. Hopefully Dwayne is keeping up with that. All right, moving on. How I turned a $7 lead into multiple transactions that totaled $22,197 in commissions. Mama got some new boots. I think I even bought a new car. No, actually, I'd already bought the new car. That was a Dodge Charger with a Hemi. That was a great car. Anyway, squirrel. I'm going to take a moment, guys, to just take a drink. It's really hot in here. Dwayne's got a lot of equipment in here, and it is roasting up in this office. All right. 323 John Wright Road. You can look it up in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. It has sold again since I had last sold it. I believe this was back in 2016, I want to say, when this happened. So I got a lead, and it was one of those $7 leads. Dwayne and I have been generating leads online for years. I don't remember exactly which platform we were using at that moment. I'm pretty sure it was Facebook. But the lead actually cost $7. And so anytime I get a listing lead, I map it out. I map out all the properties that I got that week, and I make a route, and I go out and I visit them. I do not sit behind my desk, behind a computer, waiting for the phone to ring. You have to be proactive in your business. You are a real estate professional. Real estate is outside the four walls of your house and your office. If you want to sell real estate, you've got to get outside of the four walls of your home or office. I know we're in the middle of a pandemic. I know there are a lot of states that have lockdowns and restrictions in place. Each state's going to be different. You're going to have to use your own judgment in this time, in the world that we're living in right now. I know Florida, I know you ladies probably won't have any issues getting out there and doing this. For some of the other states, I'm sorry. I really hope you guys can figure it out. But I'm going to go into this. I'm going to talk about this as if we were not in a pandemic, and then you can figure out how to tweak it and make it work for your situation. So normally I will go out and I have a route. So if I got 10 listing leads that week, I'm going to map them out. I'm going to go to MapQuest. I'm going to type in all the addresses, and I'm going to map them out, and I'm going to do a route. I'm going to make gift bags, and I'm going to go take them out of the market. And I'll talk about that here in a minute. So with this particular property, I pulled up to the house. My first thought was, oh, this is a gorgeous house in a great community, no HOA. Boom, I want this listing. They got the landscaping going on. This looks good. I get out, I walk down the sidewalk with my gift bag, and I'm excited. I knock on the door. The second I knock on the door, y'all, this is in Tennessee now, I hear gunshots. I'm like, I'm out of here. I hang the gift bag and the flyer on the door, and I made a beeline for the car. I got in the car and I took off. I was like, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know why there's gunshots, but I'm out of here. So I did not get 2 miles down the road, and I get a phone call, and it's the homeowner, and he goes, hey, I just got your flyer and this bag you left on my door. And I was like, yeah, I was just there. He's like, well, are you still in the neighborhood? I'd love to talk to you. And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. I was like, I'm sorry I took off so fast. I heard some gunshots and I didn't know what was going on. He goes, oh, I was just out back target practicing. I was like, okay. So I go back. And they took me through the house. They showed me everything they had done, the hardwood floors, all the upgrades. And they said, you know, do you really think you can get this price? Because I put what I thought I could get based off the tax records and, you know, the MLS information I got off the MLS, because I do a little bit of research, and I'll go over that a little bit here too. I was like, yeah, actually, I think I do. And he goes, well, all right, then. Well, let me talk to my wife and we'll call you back. So they called me back a couple days later. I went back out to the house, went through the house, told them the things, you know, take down the family photos, fix this, that, blah, 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 get it ready. Told them it would be best to list on such and such a date. They said, great, we got it done. Okay. So we put it on the market. It sold within 24 hours. I had multiple offers. Okay. So we took highest and best, closed within 30 days. Boom. Easy money. Now they actually it was 45 days because I had to find on my house. It took me 2 weeks to find on my house. And so I got 2 transactions right there just from a $7 lead that I went out and door knocked with my gift bag. Well, it gets better. So you can see here, 291 John Wright Road, the next door neighbor, literally the house next door. Now this house was about, I think it was at least 500 square feet smaller, if not smaller. I want to say it was in the 1,600 range, and the other house was like 2,500 square feet. 6 months went by, and we listed it, and it sold for 10,000 more than the other house because the market had exploded. So guys, a $7 lead made me $22,197. Now, you may be wondering exactly what it is that I say and do when I door knock. This is how you take a lead out of the market. You show up with a gift bag with very specific strategic items in the gift bag. It doesn't matter what the gift bag looks like. I'll be honest with you. I go to the Dollar Tree and I get them 3 for $1. My company colors are red and black, so I typically get the red bags. You can do the same thing if you want. They have white ones. So if they don't have your company colors, you can just grab white ones. You can print little logos if you want and put them on them. I didn't do all that. I just did just a regular old bag with a little bit of tissue paper in it. Now, this next part is very, very important. Now, most of you probably have a name tag. I would hope so. You are a professional real estate agent. You need a name tag. If you do not have a name tag, get one. Because here's what's going to happen when you show up at that door unannounced. Now, granted, they were a lead. They did go online. They did have intent when they filled that form out with their name, address, email address, phone number, all of that, but they don't remember doing it half the time. And they definitely did not realize that when they did that, it was going to lead to you showing up at their front door. But it's okay. It's cool because 95% of the time, it's wonderful. The other 5% of the time, there's either a really big dog and you're just like, it's not worth it. You leave. Or occasionally they'll get rude. It's very, very rare. So having the name tag when you show up, here's what's going to happen. You've got the name tag on, right? You've got the gift bag in your hand. They're opening the door. It's Saturday between 10 and 2. This is the only time I go. Saturday between 10 and 2. I make my route. I knock on the door. They answer. They don't know who I am. They don't know why I'm there. They probably think I'm there to sell them a vacuum, but I'm not. They see this gift bag in their hand, and the first thing that goes to their mind is that for me? Then they look at your name tag. Who is this? Who are they with? Then they look at your face. Then they look at the gift bag. Then they look back at the name tag. Then they look back at your face. All of this happens in a 30-second loop. About a 30-second loop. You got 30 seconds to tell them who you are and why you're there. And what I say is, hi, my name is Amanda Roberts. I'm with eXp Realty. You went online looking to find out what your home was worth. You filled out a form on my website, and here I am. I'm here. I've got your information for you. And then you start going over the flyer. I've got this flyer here, and I've printed it all out for you. This is specifically about your home. And they're all of a sudden looking at the flyer. How much is my home worth? It's still in the back of their mind. What's this gift bag in her hand? So there's a process. Okay, what's in the bag? A special treat. I'm not talking about some cheap cookies from the Dollar Tree. Okay, you can get the bag from the Dollar Tree, but the treat, it better be special. It better be something unique that they can't just get anywhere. And so what I would recommend, there is a really cool website. I think it's goldbelly.com. I can put that link in the comments later. And you can go and get these little mini loaves, these little mini bundt cakes. They have many different flavors, chocolate, vanilla, lemon. I think there's like a banana bread. There's different flavors. They're like $5.50. And if you order, I think it's 18 of them. If you get 18, it's like $100 and it includes shipping. And so it works out to be about $5.50 a piece, and you can freeze them. Now, you really want something unique because later on, after you've left and they're eating it, and maybe their husband or the wife wasn't there when you showed up, but now it's on the counter. Well, what's this? Where'd this come from? Who brought this by the house, Margaret? Some realtor. What? And then they start asking questions, because who brings sweet treats like this for no reason, right? And so trust me, it's worth it. It is worth the expense. I've had people reach out to me after the fact and say, where did you get those? I really enjoyed that. And so it's an expense worth taking. Now, the refrigerator magnet, this is your Trojan horse. Pay very close attention. Now, again, this is a link I can provide in the comments. If you want to know about the grocery list, where to get that, type in grocery list or magnet in the comments so I know to get you that link. This is your Trojan horse. Nothing else in the bag matters as much as this. And here's why. People will throw your business card away. They'll throw the flyer away. They'll throw the bag away. They're going to eat the cake and it's going to be gone. But the one thing that remains, the one thing is this grocery list refrigerator magnet. They don't give a hoot that it's a magnet. They don't care that it's got your business card on it. What they care about is it's a grocery list, because people love being able to jot things down real quick. And when they see that, their immediate reaction is to put it on the fridge. You do not know how many listing appointments that I've ran, and I'm sitting at the kitchen table, and when they're not looking, I look over to the fridge, and guess what's on the fridge? My refrigerator magnet. They don't throw it away. They just can't. For some reason, they do not throw it away. I've never, ever, ever ran a listing appointment that I had not previously door knocked and my refrigerator magnet was on the fridge. I kid you not. Those are about $1 a piece. They used to be 50 cents a piece, but they're about $1 a piece now. Well worth the expense. A customized flyer, like I said before, this is something that if you guys want my template, just let me know. Just say type flyer in the comments, and I will make sure you get this flyer. What this does is it's basically, I've got their pertinent information on there. I've got their name, their address. I went and grabbed a picture of their house, either an old picture off the MLS, or I went to Google and grabbed, like a road shot of it. Bottom left, you're going to put your information. And then where I've got it highlighted, I put how much I think the house could be worth, up to a certain amount. And then I put price per square footage in their area. I grabbed the square footage off the MLS or the tax records about their house. Again, I reiterate the purchase price, what I think somebody, what we could list it for. And I don't buy listings like that. I don't say, if I think it's worth $375, I don't put 400,000. There's a reason behind that. People who buy listings typically run into problems later on and it doesn't work out. I've just seen it happen time and time again. I'm one of those agents. I've never bought a listing. I never say a house is worth more than I think it's worth. That one particular house, I told him I thought I could sell it for $250. I actually sold it for $260, but that was a multiple offer situation. And the person who bought it went over list price. So, in situations like that, you can't help it. But if you want a copy of that flyer, just type in the comments flyer and I'll make sure you get a copy of it. And then all you've got to do is just go in and just take my picture out and put your picture in, and my information, put your information, and then save it. And then every time you get a house, just go in and just take out, the address and the price from the previous one and the image, and just pop in a new one, boom, print it, move on to your next one. It takes like no more than 5 minutes, and it's very personal. It's very customized, and it will get you phone calls. All right, so business card is another thing you want to put in the bag. It's not crucial, but it will save you time and effort, because even though you've got your business card on the refrigerator magnet in the bag, people for some reason have a tendency to ask for the business card. And I've just found that it's awkward to say, oh, well, my business card's on the magnet. All of a sudden it drew attention to the fact that, wait a minute, you put your business card on the magnet, or I have to run back to the car and get a business card. So just put them in the bag. Business cards don't cost that much. So you're saying, you might be watching this and you may be thinking, well, I don't have any listings to leverage, Amanda. I can't use signage. I can't use take one boxes. What do I do? How do I get listings? Well, there are other agents in your office that have listings that you can leverage. All you have to do is get their permission. And so here's a list of people that I recommend that you ask. You can ask your broker. You can ask team leaders. You can ask other agents in your office. Maybe even reach out to other agents that you've done business with in the past. You represented one side of the transaction and they represented the other side. Reach out and say, hey, you got any listings that you want me to market on Facebook or behind my flyers and my take one boxes? I would love to show your listings. It's all how you frame it and how you ask. Most people are willing to let you share their listings. They want them to be sold. Another good source is agents who have mentored you or agents who have given presentations at your office. So typically speaking, an agent that gives a presentation at your office is someone who wants to help and they like helping other people. So if they've got listings, they'll be more than happy to share those with you. Ask your loan officer or title person, anybody else that's in the industry, if they know other agents that you maybe could co-op with like that. I'm not talking about splitting commissions. I'm not talking about splitting marketing dollars. I'm just talking about other agents who have listings that wouldn't mind you sharing those listings. That's all I'm talking about here. And then you can always just do an MLS search and look for hot listings and ask those agents. So moving on, how to get multiple offers on your listings every time. So let's say you have a listing and you want to impress the seller. You want to get them top dollar for the property and you're in a seller's market. So here's a couple things that you can do. Do a pocket listing blast. Now you may be thinking, what's a pocket listing? I'm sure most of you know what it is, but for the possibility that somebody doesn't know what a pocket listing is, that is a listing that's coming up that is not on the MLS currently. We like to call those pocket listings. And so what you can do is do a blast to your past clients, any past agents you've closed deals with, or anybody that you're connected on Facebook. You can do that through email, Messenger on Facebook, even text messaging. I mean, if you've got hundreds of people in your database, though, you want to slow roll that over a couple of days because you will get shut down by providers. But the best place to do that is Facebook groups. Groups that you're an admin of or a moderator or other groups that you're allowed to share things like that in. A good source, like when I was an agent in Tennessee, we had a group for agents in Middle Tennessee, and we could go on there and share things like pocket listings. Now, these are a couple of strategies. I do not recommend these in every single market, nor do I recommend them at all times. These are just a couple of strategies you can try. For example, you can list the property. Let's say you know this house is only worth $275. Okay. List it for $285. And, let your seller know this is a strategy. It's just simple paperwork to do a price change. You've already done the contract. And most of you, it's like a page or two to do a price change. It's not a big deal. Everybody's using AuthentiSign or DocuSign these days. It takes a few minutes. List it 10,000 above market or 5,000, whatever you feel like, is right. And knowing for a fact, you're not going to get a bite on it, or maybe you do. Hey, great, move on with it. But if you're doing it intentionally to do a price drop, so it's like you're marking it up to mark it down. And the reason you do this is, I don't know if your hot sheets are like this or if you call it hot sheets, but basically the way it worked in our MLS is that when you have a property for sale and you do a price drop or price change, I should say, of $1,000 or more, it goes back onto the hot sheet. What do I mean by hot sheet? So if you've got clients that are set up in your automated emails, like you've set up searches for your clients that, if a property shows up in this zip code for $250 or less, is 3 bedrooms or 2 baths or more, and it's 1,500 or more square feet, email this client those homes. Well, there are tons of agents out there who have set these up, okay, for their clients. And so when yours goes back on that hot sheet and now it says price change, $10,000, all of a sudden they're like, oh, we got to go look at this. They're trying to move it. It's just a strategy. It's just a strategy. Another option, now this one's a little bit trickier, is to list 10,000 below market. Or say, for example, the house is worth $260, but $250 seems to be a common threshold. You know how people say looking up to $250 or up to $300, whatever that common threshold in your market is. But you want to get $260. Just go ahead and list it for $249.9. Let your seller know this is a strategy. You do not have to accept offers at $249.9. And the chances are, if you're in a seller's market, it's not going to go for that anyway. It's going to go for 10 to 20,000 or more. You're going to get a lot of people coming in to look at this house. Just let your seller know, especially if they got kids or dogs. Hey, listen, you're not going to be home for 24 hours. Just, you might as well go get a hotel room, because these people are going to be coming in your house constantly back to back with their agents. So that's another strategy. This is a good strategy that's worked. It just depends on the property. If you're in an average market where your price point's like 250 to 300, and this is a $500,000 listing, it's probably not going to work. But if it's in that 250 to 300 range, and that's the hot range, then it will work. Hold an open house the same day you list, put it on the MLS that all offers to be looked at after open house. This will push people to the open house, and it'll also generate multiple offers for your client. Now, a lot of people say open houses are a waste of time. No, they're not. No, they're not. Now, I used to be that person. I'm not going to lie. My first 5 years in the business, I refused to do an open house. I said they were a waste of time, but I'm going to tell you why they're not. I have gotten so much business from open houses over the years. I never sold the house that day. It was never sold that day to anybody who came to the open house. Never happens. Well, it didn't happen for me. I'm not saying it never happens. I'm sure there are people out there who've sold their sold their listings at an open house. Never happened for me though. What is the number one goal of an open house? For you as the agent, what's the number one goal? To get leads. Now, you think it's to sell the house, but you're really there to get leads. And if you know that going into it, it's not a waste of time. If you happen to sell the house at the same time, yay, it's a win-win, but that very rarely happens. So how should an open house be run? Well, you want lots of signage on every corner and on every main road. I'm not talking about 2 or 3 signs. I'm talking about, look at a map. Your house is here, and there's a main road here, and a main road here, and a main road here. How are people going to get to this house from these main roads? And you need to have signs on each one of those roads. And as you drive down those roads and there's turns, there's a sign there. And as you drive from this direction, and there's a sign here. And you're literally leading them to this open house from all the main roads like breadcrumbs. And use balloons, lots of them. Balloons are cheap. I mean, even if you went to the Dollar Tree, which is a great source for marketing if you haven't already caught that, you can buy a lot of balloons for $1 each. I mean, a lot. Even if you got the big bright yellow smiley face ones and put them on each one of your signs, if you were limited on your budget, balloons catch people's attention. Red balloons, yellow balloons, anything that's bright is going to catch their attention, and that's what you want. Now, setting the mood. I always play classical music softly at my open houses, and I have a warm apple pie candle burning. The reason I do warm apple pie is it makes it smell like a fresh home-baked apple pie when they walk in the house, and it just makes them feel like they're at home. You want to set the mood. This is crucial. And you want to provide refreshments. You know, a lot of people say it's a waste of time and energy. I say it's a business expense. If you're doing a lot of business, you're going to want tax write-offs anyway. If it's a higher end property, you're going to want to do wine and cheese. On the lower end properties, maybe bottled water, cookies and chips. Now, a lot of people have trouble getting people to sign in. I don't do sign-in sheets at open houses. I just don't. People know when they're doing a sign-in sheet that they're giving you their information. Well, if they don't want you to have their information, guess what they're going to do? They're going to put false information, or they're going to leave it blank. You don't want that. And it's a hassle. It's a hassle trying to get people to do that. So what I do, and it makes it so much easier for me and the potential buyers, is I do a drawing, just a simple basket. You know, again, you can go to the Dollar Tree and put together a nice little basket. You can spend about $20. You can maybe go other places and get, you know, I've got a picture of a wine bottle here. If you like wine and you're in a community that, you know, people like wine, put a wine bottle. They'll fill out their information for a free bottle of wine. Absolutely, they will. And I do a fish bowl. That's just my thing. I've always done fish bowls. I've been in business almost 20 years, and I've always had a fish bowl at my open houses. I do little slips, and I have their name, phone number, email address, time frame that they're going to move, all the pertinent information that I want to know as a potential buyer's agent, what they're looking for. And if you guys want a copy of that sheet, I have printables where they're already on the sheet and you can just cut that, put OH form, open house form, OH form, if you want a copy of that in the comments. Lastly, on your open houses, you want to advertise, 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 advertise. You can go and spend all the money on the signs, all the money on the balloons, all the money on the gift, all the money on the food and everything else. You can make it wonderful. But if you don't advertise to get people there, it is a waste of time and energy for you. So here are some top places for you to advertise for free. I use community groups on Facebook. This particular image is a group that I built up, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. Mount Juliet 10 Homes for Sale or Rent. I also did one for Hermitage and Old Hickory. I was trying to own that market and I got my fair share of the pie. So what I did was I had built this up. I put homes in this group practically daily that were for sale, like first-time home buyer range. And I also put homes that were available for rent. I did not go out and show rental property because we only made $100 if they did the lease and it wasn't worth my time and gas. But I put it out there for them. And so they could always call another agent to go see the property. They joined the group to get the information. And so what happened is I added a lot of my friends, neighbors, and people that I was acquaintances with, along with past clients. I added them to this group. And what they saw was me going in there, like I said before, just sold another property to Mr. and Mrs. Jones, Mr. and Mrs. Smith just bought a home, and they're seeing these pictures. And so what is that doing? It's branding me to them. And so I have this spread out over several zip codes. And so I ended up, when I left Tennessee, this is a good friend of mine. So she now runs the group because I don't have a license in Tennessee anymore. I'm in Florida. Which is why on my next image here, I did a Zillow search for open houses in Orlando, Florida. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but a lot of the big sites that the consumer goes to, I know as agents, we don't like those words. Zillow's a cuss word, I know, but they are a good tool for us as well because the consumer is going there, typing in open houses, because where else are they going to go? If they don't have a buyer's agent, how else are they going to find out about open houses for that weekend? And so you just got to go in there and make sure. A lot of times the MLS will syndicate when you click. A lot of your MLSs are going to be set up similar to ours, where you can just go in there and click open house, put in the date and the time. And as long as you do it, several days in advance, it will syndicate with these other sites. But I always go back and make sure, because there is occasional time that it doesn't. And so I manually put it in to Zillow and some of the other sites. So those are a couple of good sources right there. And don't just do it once. Don't go in your Facebook groups and post it on Wednesday. Open house this Saturday. Blow it up every single day. When you get to the open house, go live in the groups and say, hey, I'm over here at 234 Stony Road doing an open house today. Go around and show the refreshments, show the house, do a tour. I'd love for you guys to come over and say hi to me. We're doing a drawing. We've got wine and cheese. It's a great day to look at property. Love to see you. Facebook Live it. In every one of those groups, you're going to get a lot of traffic that way. All righty, moving on. And do not forget to inform your past clients of any open houses you're conducting. Sometimes they'll just swing by and talk shop with you. They like to get the free stuff. You never know. It could lead to new business. They may be looking for themselves or family. And always, speaking of your database, always work your database. After being in the business for 5 years, this would have been way back in the early 2000s, I found out that over 50% of my business was coming from referrals, just by keeping in touch with them. And this was before Facebook even existed, guys. And now I'm showing my age. Ways to work your database. I'm going to go through this real quickly. Monthly newsletters, those are self-explanatory. You can always Google to get templates for that. You can email them or mail them. Annual CMAs on their home buying anniversary date. Do a comparative market analysis for your clients. If you sold them a property every single year on their property anniversary date, do a CMA, do a comparative market analysis for their home. People do not realize how much their property has appreciated. The house that I'm living in now, I've been here a year and a half. When we purchased this home for $308 a year and a half ago. It is now worth $360. Now, I'm an agent and did not know that. My friend who is an agent told me, do you realize your house is gone? It's worth about $360. I'm like, girl, no, it isn't. She goes, yes, it is. I looked it up. She was right. I didn't even realize it. And I'm an agent. So guys, these people have no clue, and don't let Zillow be their guide. Half the time it's wrong. Here's another great way to stay in touch with your database: birthday and Christmas cards. If you don't want to remember, if you want to set it and forget it, send out cards is a great service, or you can do it manually. It just depends on how many clients you have. If you've only been in the business for 2 years and you've got 20 clients, it might not be a big deal to sit down and manually fill them out. But when you got 100 clients, sign up with send out cards and set it and forget it. Facebook group of past clients to update them on the market. Again, happy home buyer groups like that one I set up, put them in the group. That way they're there. You don't have to worry about it. And everything that you post, they're going to see it. Now, here's a great one some of you probably are not doing: a Facebook group specifically for home remodeling ideas for your clients. It's an extra step, guys. I'm not going to lie. It's a lot to manage these Facebook groups. So be very careful when you decide to start a Facebook group that you are going to devote the time and energy to keeping the group updated, because you're going to want to go in there and make posts constantly about home remodeling ideas. Share coupons from companies like steam cleaning companies or gutter companies, or people who will come out and clean their house, or people who will pressure wash the house, pressure wash the driveway, or do their landscaping. These are great ways to stay in touch with your clients. I like this personally because it's a one and done, and I can use basically the same flyer for all my clients. Send out a list of home repairman and landscapers in the spring, and make sure you put courtesy of your name, your company. Hey, I'm still a realtor. I'm in the business. Remember me? This is a great way to add value to your past clients and stay in front of them without being pushy and saying, hey, I'm your realtor of choice. Remember, this is a way to add value without coming across pushy. Annual get-togethers. This is a little bit of extra effort. It does take a little bit of money, but once you get a considerable database, honestly, by the time you get to the point where you're going to need a team, this is probably when you would start doing this, but it still doesn't hurt to start sooner. Annual get-togethers. You could do a Christmas party, although a lot of people are already going to Christmas parties, so maybe do a summer splash party if you have access to a pool. That's a great way to have like a little backyard get-together with your past clients. Automation is great, but just remember, guys, be personable. Thousands of dollars in commissions are on the line. Thousands. If you miss out on one client who bought a $300,000 house and sold their house, say for $250,000, that's almost $20,000 gone. All of these things cost very little money. Some of them take less time than others. Some of them are fully automated and can make you thousands of dollars over the life of your business. Don't just think about the money you want to make today. Think about the money you want to make in the future, because if you set it up right now, you will be making money hand over fist 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. I still get phone calls from past clients from Tennessee, and I've been gone for almost 2 years. Hey, Amanda, we're thinking about selling our house. Oh, sweetie, I'm in Florida, but I've got a great agent. Let me give you her name and number. She will be more than happy to take care of you. I've lost probably $50,000 in the last 6 months just because I don't live there anymore. Guys, if you set it up right, you will make money for the rest of your career. All right, moving on. The goal is to get to the point you are no longer doing these things alone, because it's a lot to run a business on your own. Trust me, I know. But we can teach you how to leverage a team and make even more money with less stress. The first steps to building a team, and I'm going to go through this pretty quickly too, because I am over on my time. I love sharing this information with you guys, and I just get excited. So I'm sorry. Sorry that I've gone over. Watch the replay if you've got to go. Step 1 to building a team, lead generation mastery. You have got to generate more leads than you can personally handle. You've got to have a lead machine that's running constantly, giving you leads. And then when you get to the point where you cannot handle them all, it's time to start a team. Step number 2, have a system. People run systems, systems run teams. You need a system in place to run a team. The next steps is you're going to want a buyer's agent. Don't go out and hire 5 buyer's agents or 5 seller's agents and 5 buyer's agents. One good buyer's agent. And most hungry new agents will work for a 50-50 split, because they're not having to spend the time, energy, and money to market. And they're going to get the referrals from that client, and they're going to get the repeat business in the future. And so, yeah, I know that takes money away from you, but you can't really trace that past the one lead. So you have to explain it to them correctly. They have to understand. You have to cast the vision on being part of a team. And we can go over that more if you decide to do a game planning session with us. Now, step 4 in building a team is getting a good seller's agent. Now, once you get to the point where you cannot handle all the listing appointments anymore, it's time to hire a listing agent. And you could easily accomplish that by the end of this year if you don't already have a team. Now, branding yourself as the industry expert, it does come with time and experience, but we can help you accelerate that. And once you've branded yourself as the industry expert, you're going to get more business than you know what to do with. There are lots of ways to brand yourself, but in my honest opinion, nothing works better than excellent customer service. You treat your clients right, you stay in touch with them, and you will build a large database of repeat business for years to come. Now, the next steps are up to you. Taking your business to the next level is as simple as scheduling a 15-minute game planning session phone call with us. You will be matched with one of us here at Marketing and Conversion, and this is actually a free call to help you, and we're not going to sell you anything. Now, what can you expect on the 15-minute call? We're going to ask you some questions about your business. We're going to dig in a little and find out what's holding you back from going to that next level. If you're an agent that's only closing 2 deals a month and you want to close 5 to 6, we're going to try to figure out what's going on with you there. What's your market like? What's worked for you in the past? What's not working? And then we're going to strategize with you. We're going to come up with the next steps. We're going to come up with a game plan to help you get to the next level. Now, on the 15-minute call, we just want to help. That's our goal. We just want to help, want to figure out, what it is that you need, what you're missing, what the missing ingredient is. And we're not going to sell you anything. Again, this is not a sales call. So if you're ready to take your business to the next level, go ahead and type the word increase in the comments. That is going to trigger a member of our team to reach out to you with a link so you can schedule a 15-minute game planning session call with Dwayne or myself. You actually get to choose. So if you prefer the female version, that's me, or you can talk with Dwayne. Dwayne's a wealth of information, as I'm sure you all know at this point, but we both can help you strategize and figure out what it's going to take to get to the next level. Now, before I go, I want to leave you with a few more nuggets. I want to teach you how to get more listings organically. You can always pay for leads. We've got great ads that we've proven over the years that work. Our agents are getting leads very inexpensively, but there are ways to get listings for free, guys. It just takes a little bit more time and it's a little bit more of a slower roll. But here's a couple of ideas, things that have worked for me over the years. It may not work in your market. Your expireds and withdrawals may be dried up. People may have already worked them. But there are sellers out there who have expired. They wanted to sell, but for some reason they didn't. Maybe their house was overpriced. Maybe the home needed repairs. Maybe they were just difficult. Who knows? But it expired and it hasn't been relisted. You can do the exact same thing that I did earlier when I explained to you earlier about door knocking. You can do the exact same thing with expireds and withdrawals, guys. Withdrawals are a little bit different than expireds. Withdrawals are people who had it listed, took it off the market, something came up. either A, the house they wanted to buy sold, or they lost their job, somebody died, they had an emergency come up, something major changed, and they had to withdraw it. And so those are a couple of good ways to generate business. I've used expireds and withdrawals and got a lot of business from that over the years. Additional lead source are renters and rentals. Apartment complexes are great lead sources for potential buyers. Every month, tenants are moving in and out, and quite a few of them are buying a home or would buy a home if they understood the home buying process. So it's your job as a professional to explain that to them. Rentals. Now, a lot of times people assume that somebody is renting a home because they want rental property, they want to be a landlord, and that's just not true. A lot of times people rent their home because they have no other choice. They tried to sell it and they couldn't, and they had to rent it so they could cover the mortgage. Maybe they had a job transfer, maybe there was a divorce, maybe there was a death. There's some reason they're renting it and they really don't want to rent it anymore. And so if you go back on your MLS and you look at property that will say, you know, that we're in January. So let's say you go back and look at property that went up for rental in your MLS, say last March. Well, if they rented it in March, it's a pretty good chance that those leases are coming up the end of February. So you can go to the tax record and find out who owns that property and send them a letter or a postcard. Or if you're lucky enough to find them on Facebook or phone number, reach out to them and say, hey, you know, that property over at 392 Main Street, I saw that you had it rented. You rented it out last March. I'm assuming that the tenant their lease will come up the end of February. Are you planning on renting that again, or would you like to just sell that outright? I would love to give you a potential sales price on that. I can look that up for you and let you know how much you can sell it for. A lot of the times, like more than 50% of the time, they're going to say, yeah, I've been thinking about selling that property. How much you think I can sell it for? Boom. There's your listing. And then you take everything else I showed you at the beginning of this and apply that to that listing and leverage the heck out of it to get more business. That isn't going to cost you a penny. So guys, if you would like to get on a 15-minute game planning session call with Dwayne or myself, type increase in the comments. You can even do that after the replay. A member of our team will reach out to you, it may even be Dwayne or myself, and give you the link to the schedule to get on a 15-minute call with us so we can dig down into your business, find out what it is that's missing, that's keeping you from going to the next level. And we're going to strategize and come up with a game planning session to help you crush 2021 and take your business to the next level.